Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Miss Barbara. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great now that I can hear you and you can hear me, and it's Tuesday.
and it's the first Tuesday of the year. And what a great way to start the new year.
Yes. Just this I just want people to know, just imagine having the fireworks and the display going on right now on our show.
Exactly. But I do have to start off with okay, let's start. I am a firm believer in fess up, take the heat a little bit, and then go on. Okay, so I have to fess up a little bit to the audience. I was supposed to send Miss Barbara Beckley whole bunches of information to start the new year with, and I neglected to do it. And I'm like, oh no, I don't. We get so caught up in what we're doing for ourselves, and then it's like, oh, for heaven's sakes, Barbara. And I just realized it this morning that I never sent you any of the stuff that I was supposed to send you. So here's me fessing up is good. Fessing up is good. And the thing is, fessing up is good for your soul.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, even though you don't think it, it festers.
Mm.
Even though you might not be your conscious mind is not thinking that you didn't do what you were supposed to do, your body stores it.
Mm.
And it comes out somewhere else.
I'll say, yeah.
And that is such an essential thing of, and then just forgive yourself. Hey, I did it. I did not send you the stuff that I was supposed to send you. But now it's like, okay, now Barbara, be better. And get the stuff to you. And but fessing up is good for your soul.
And I totally agree, Barbara. And it's funny you're talking about you're doing it this morning. Well, I had to do it yesterday.
Yeah.
And fess up about. See, that's why I love to be around you and other people that is teamwork and how we care about each other. Because sometimes caring is reminding a person on what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
And I say that because I had a meeting with it was like you said, fess up with Mr. Barry B. Mixon, because I work with his show too and producing his show and helping with his branding and stuff. Well, we decided to start having a meeting in the first year every Monday, even if it's just 15 minutes, just to go over some things that make sure he's on target and everything like that. Well, last night, everything, how sometimes your schedule gets kind of bumped up and then all of a sudden something
exactly.
So, it's like, oh no. So I basically had to ask him, could we start next Monday or move our time if he was still open? And he came back and he was like, okay, but all day I had this scheduled on my calendar. Now all of a sudden, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and then, I'm thinking, it's going to be, hopefully it's going to be okay. And he was joking on one end.
Right.
About it, just being Barry. But then I thought about it. He's right. If you schedule something, if you know that, whatever, some things happen. Sometimes
things happen last minute. Absolutely.
But if it's not last minute and you can really tell that person or kind of get to them and say, you know what, this is what's happening.
Right.
To see what you can do, then you need to, you can try to do that. So he kind of reminded me, okay, I get life happens and stuff, but if you knew this a little bit earlier or whatever,
right, it would have changed his schedule.
Yes, because you don't know what the other person. See, that's being what you said. That's being respectful for other people's schedules. Right. So, yeah. So I had to fess up, and I had to, first I was like, really, and then I was like, no, Barbara, he's right.
Exactly. I mean, once in a while, it's eating that humble pie a little bit.
Yeah, and I ate a little humble pie.
And the thing is, it's about the other person and being like you just said, or being respectful of their time and talent and what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But it's also, if you don't fess up to it, it'll come out somewhere else.
Or you might be carrying something that you shouldn't be carrying.
Exactly.
There's that lesson learned again. So instead of owning it, because I owned it, like I always tell people, I try to own stuff, and especially if it's something I did or I need to do. If you don't own it, then it's gonna it's gonna trigger down somewhere, like you said, Barbara, within another conversation or within yourself or whatever's going on. So, like you said, just
yeah, I have been in my life an emotion stuffer.
Me too.
We stuff down the emotions, and it's those little things that when we just don't acknowledge it, and we stuff it down, and it seems so minor at the time, so minor, and yet when you put all sorts of minor things. Sorry, I've got a tickle. Minor things. Well, guess what? A lot of minor things erupt into something that can be more major.
Yes.
All right, I've got to take a drink.
Yeah, please take a drink. So you're right. So that's why I always tell people it's better just to let it go. Even if, say you don't express it to the person or something, but at least go in the mirror or something, or go by yourself and kind of say, you know what, I need to take a hold of this because this was something that maybe I caused or something that I forgot or whatever it is. I mean, we're learning, forever learning in life. So just own it up to it. And hey, there's our mascot for the first
tripod.
Hey, tripod. Yeah. So it's good for you, and it's good for the, if it's the other person that you're including, then it's good for both. Yeah. And then they'll see, like, if you got to include the other person, then they'll see that, she's really taking ownership of this. She's really respecting this and
ownership.
Yeah. And it builds that respect and that trust and everything else if you want to, put all into it. Yeah.
Yeah. So absolutely. So, but let's do a couple of fun things. Guess what today is?
I knew it. I was waiting.
Two things.
Today.
And I couldn't decide which one I liked better.
Do both.
So I said, well, we're going to do both. Today is National Drinking Straw Day.
Oh, dang. I just could have had my straw in my water. I could have used it as example.
The thing is, who would have thought of getting a patent?
Whoa,
Drinking straws have a patent on them.
Wait a minute. Back up a little bit. So this day, Drinking Straw Day has a patent on it?
Drinking straw. A drinking straw has a patent on it. And it was issued. And guess when it was issued?
Here we go with the years. 19. No. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna say it. 1950.
Nope. 1888.
It's back then. They had a straw back then.
They had straws back in 1888.
I was thinking they wouldn't have straws back then.
The thing is, I love to research these little.
I know. Things. I love it. I'm learning every time you bring it up.
But the oldest drinking straw known was found by archaeologists from 3000 BC.
3000
BC. So 5,000 years ago, they had drinking straws.
Okay, 5,000 years ago.
Right, because it was 3,000 years BC. We're at 2000 and some odd AD. So
I'm just thinking back then.
5,000 years ago.
I was like, what did they make it out of? I mean, I'm just thinking because that's a long time.
I think bamboo.
Okay, it had to be something with wood or whatever. I'm thinking, bamboo or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know what? I can't laugh because when you think about it, if you go to like, Hawaii or Jamaica or something like, they have those little bamboo sticks, and I think they still drink out of it. Yeah, some people still drink out of that. Okay. Yeah.
But now straws are made out of all sorts of things. We're going back to paper. Have you noticed that we are going back to paper?
Some places I know it's paper, some are still plastic. Yeah.
I'm so happy that they're going back to paper because paper dissolves. Instead of adding more straws to the island of garbage that's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. That is becoming my pet peeve here, and I'm supporting it. And I think I told you that for Christmas, I bought myself 20 pounds of garbage out of the and now I'm doing it every month. And so I think that's going to be something that I just continue. We need to clean up our environment, and there's an island of garbage in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
That's so sad. And every time they show it on TV, it's just getting bigger. I mean,
it's getting bigger and bigger. And we are part of we are not the main contributor, no, but we are part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the problem. But now people are making reusable, like that are hard plastic. Like I have a couple that are hard plastic, and you just rinse them out and reuse them, so that they're not getting thrown out. People make them out of stainless steel now. Whatever.
Yeah.
Just as long as it's not being just disposed of. And I mean, I know a senior lady that she brought her own straw everywhere she went because it was fatter and she didn't have to suck as hard. So she brought her own straw everywhere she went. And it was like, why not?
That's a good idea. I know I need to, because I do have plastic straws. So I'm going to have to go, and I'm running out of that one. So that's good. So I can be done and then go get straws. Because for some reason, I like straws. I like to use straws with drinks.
Yeah.
I got to find
depending on what I'm drinking.
Yeah, it depends on what I'm drinking. But I need to fit, like with water, I don't use a straw, but other stuff I might use a straw. But I need to find the paper straws.
Yeah, either get paper one or get one that if you have one at home, get a couple that you just use all the time and you throw them in the dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that kind of stuff. So, but the other day, this is so the other day it is, and I could, this brings back such memories of when I was a kid, because we would go and visit my grandmother, and we would have chocolate covered cherries. Today is National Chocolate Covered Cherry Day.
Oh, it's cherry. Okay. I'd really like
cherries, chocolate covered cherries. The thing is, once in a while, my grandmother would make them. And originally they put like liqueurs in them. And they would put like, it's called kirsch, or kirsch, however you say it.
Uh-huh.
And it was fermented from sour cherries. And but it was that filling in the chocolate covered cherries. I mean, now you can just buy them as just a candy, but homemade, they used to make them because it was fermented and it would preserve them in the chocolate.
Okay. So
and
chocolate.
And guess when?
Who? Oh, go ahead.
Back in the 1700s. They had, that's what you remember last week when we talked about that we got people, sugar became much more prevalent.
Yes.
From the colonies. Well, cocoa beans and sugar. So that's where back in the 1700s, they used to make these chocolate covered cherries, but they filled them with cordial. The liqueurs.
Ooh. Ooh.
And my grandmother, I can remember her making them.
Ooh.
And we were allowed to have one.
What you said, just one. Just one?
One.
Oh.
Because, well, they had booze. I mean, they had booze in them. So we were allowed to have.
Yeah, especially as a child, if you have more than one, that's it. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, now they cook them in like corn syrup and, you know, that kind of stuff, all sorts of things, you know, syrup flavored, you know, cherry flavored syrup. I mean, they've got everything. But I mean, back in the day, I love these little history lessons but it did bring back a memory of having them as a kid, of homemade ones. And I guess there's lots of recipes out there. They're not just for, you know, confectioners. I mean, you can go. I don't know if they sell them now. That should be something I could look up. Whether you can buy them like that, I think you would have to go to a real specialty store to get the real liqueur filled ones.
Well, but, you know, okay, that's interesting. And I'm thinking too, like you said, it has a little alcohol in it, so you couldn't take, you know, as children could eat. But now did you find out like who discovered it? Like did they say that or no?
No, it was just became a candy. Who invented them? I don't think they know.
Oh, they don't. Okay.
They are you know what, that would be a great way. But when it came to the States, you know, that's when it just became much more mass produced and stuff, because they would make them, you know, the candy makers would make them.
Okay.
So yeah, it's fascinating where things came from and how long they've been around that we never even think of. Things that we take for granted.
Especially when you talk about the straws, I would have never. Yes. I'm thinking, you know, that's why I said, I don't think they were way back. But then, like you said, bamboo sticks. I mean, people, you know, hey, you never, And then you said it has a patent on it. I wonder who owns the patent.
And the patent. I know who did the patent. What was his name? Let me look. Oh, Marvin C. Stone. Marvin C. Stone. I should have look him up and see what else he did. But he got the patent for a paper drinking straw.
Oh, the paper drinking straw.
For paper drinking straw, but 1888.
1888.
But anyways, but the oldest one was found in a Sumerian tomb in 3000 that dated back to 3000 BC.
So they were kind of okay. So so they were digging up stuff, and they
found a whole. It's in like Mesopotamia between the like the Euphrates River, in that whole basin that's in Syria, Turkey, that kind of stuff. They found a whole city.
Wow.
They have found a whole city there that they're doing. And then there's also one in Afghanistan. And I can't say it begins with a Q. But they are excavating it. They have no idea. It's a huge, huge place. They're excavating it. They have no idea who built it, what it was for, but it's like a whole city.
You know, to me, isn't that really wild? I mean, I would always tell myself that would be kind of wild to go on that kind of expedition where, you know, there are archaeologists where they're digging and you find like you said, a whole city or a whole what, you know, that was there. It's like,
well, it's like going to the Mayans in South America and the ones in Mexico. There was a whole civilization.
Yes.
And how did they build the pyramids? My son and I, we went up for breakfast for our Christmas, New Year's kind of thing. And we went up for breakfast and we were talking about that. How did they make the pyramids?
Yes.
You know, there's all sorts of speculations of how they did it.
Mm-hmm. It's just wild that, you know, and then, you know, the thing about it is that it's still, you know, some of the things that they created and stuff is still there. I mean, it's still just preserved that you know, we can find out about and everything. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean,
it blows my mind.
But one of the interesting facts about it, and I mean, this just fascinates me, and it's just, to me, it's useless information, and yet it's fun information because it's history.
No, it's history. I love history.
It's history. But the Sumerians used them for drinking beer.
The
Sumerians back 3000 BCs. They used them for drinking beer. Okay, so number one, they had beer. Seriously? Okay, but they had fermented beer. But you know, when you ferment stuff back then, they didn't have the like the stuff to take out all the extra stuff. Yeah. So they used straws so that they didn't get all of the stuff left from fermenting the beer, that they only got the beer part. And that's how it was, you know, but invention is necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes.
So that's how it first developed. So they didn't want to get the solid byproducts of the fermentation.
Yeah, because can you just?
It would be like drinking tea using tea leaves. And my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, she always, and my aunt always, never you didn't have tea bags in the house. What do you mean you have a tea bag? Tea bags were a no-no. We had tea leaves. And so there was always tea leaves at the bottom of the cup. And so I can see why people would drink with a straw, because we used to use a sieve. And we had all these little dainty sieves to put out the, you know, to get the tea leaves out of the tea.
You know, it's funny, when I first discovered tea leaves, it was from my friends when I used to visit her house. Her grandmother used to come there, and I used to be there with the family. People always adopted me because I was.
That's because you're lovable.
I was only child, and they felt like, okay, she's a sister, she's a brother, so come on to our, you know, family. And their grandmother would come over, and that's the first time I'll never forget. I discovered, you know, the tea leaves. And then because she was drinking tea and her mother and stuff. And then they would say, here's the leaf on the bottom. They would get all excited about it, the tea on it. And I was like, why they got a leaf? I guess my friend, why they got a leaf on the bottom of their tea? And she said, that's how they make the tea, with the tea leaves. And I was like, and I never, you know, that's how I learned about that.
You know, and then of course there's the people that swear that they can read tea leaves.
Yes.
That there's a whole science behind reading tea leaves.
Yeah. And she said that. Well, the grandmother, she said that she was kind of into that. So I was like, wow, that's awesome.
So you just kind of like, oh, well.
Oh, yeah. See, that doesn't say you learn. And see, I always tell people, please, especially I'm going to put the youth out there right now. Please learn from the elderly. And I had to point to us because we're the elderly.
We're the aging. We're the aging. You know,
we're the older.
But we're not getting older. We're getting better.
We're getting more wise, and being wise, we know more stuff because we've been here longer. I always tell people, they said, well, why should, you know how some young people, why should we listen to it? Well, I was here before you were. So I believe that we know just a little bit more than what you might know because we've been here. So, you know, listen. And because I even listen now, you know, even our, you know, older people, for us, that we're learning so much. And like you said, with the history, Barbara, it really adds to it. Really adds to it. So I want
to have lived it.
Yeah, we lived it, and we you know, we lived it from our mistakes. We lived the things. I always tell people, learn from what Barbara, you know, what she did, and don't do it. Sometimes, you know, there's some things that just don't do it because I said it and I went through it. So why, you know, I'm trying to save you. I always tell people, I say, I'm trying to save you.
Right. You know, we all have to make our own mistakes, and sometimes I'm very open to people. Oh, okay, I won't do that, but. And then I'm so proud of myself for not doing that. And then I do something else that's just as foolish or just as silly. And it's like, okay, yeah, fine. Learning curve.
The learning curve. Yeah, learning curve. But so for our learning curve, we're going to learn from our sponsor right now.
Exactly.
Hanson. When we hear from them, we'll be right back. You are looking at the Diamond Time to Shine Happiness Show with the BBs.
And we are going to talk about, this is the beginning of the new year.
Yes.
Quit comparing your last year with other people's last year, and quit and don't compare yourself to this year's version of whoever. So we're going to talk about not comparing yourself.
Yeah, we'll be right back. And we are back. If you're just chiming in, this is Time to Shine Happiness Show with the BBs, Barbara Ellison and Barbara J. Beckley. And we were talking about, is Barbara, she's being known for this now. This is going to be part of our segment when we don't have guests. Even when we do have guests, at the beginning, Barbara brings up the day and what day it is and kind of give us some historical lessons, which I'm loving every minute of it. In fact, Barbara, before we get into our subject in hand about not comparing each other, not comparing from last year to this year, I did find some other things on January 3rd. Just real quick, just run it down. It's like 3 more.
Absolutely.
So the one today is also the Festival of Sleep Day.
Okay. You mean we get to take a nap this afternoon?
That's not I said, okay, I kind of like that. So Festival of Sleep Day. So have fun, have a festival with it. Take any kind of nap that you need to take. And then another is International Mind Body Wellness Day. Okay, that's today. And then is Fruitcake Toss Day. So I know a few days ago it was Fruitcake
Day.
Fruitcake. Now this is Fruitcake Toss Day. So now you can just toss the fruitcake.
Well, people have been known to have fruitcake that you could use as a doorstop.
I know, it's like a brick.
And I love fruitcake. I really like fruitcake, and I have made fruitcake. It's like I made the traditional that takes the 3 or 4 weeks to make it and all that kind of stuff, and loved it. But it was like, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
But you have to really love it, and most people don't.
Yeah, it's you have to have that taste for it.
You have to have a taste for it.
Yeah. But I just wanted to bring up some other days. I mean, I love how Barbara, I said, let me join in the fun here and find some other things.
It just triggers you to learn something new. And so if you're going to learn something new, why not make it a little fun thing, like a fun fact? Like we used to have a DJ when I was growing up, and his name was Lockwood. And he would always have Lockwood's Library of Useless Information. And he would come up with all of these little fun things. Mm-hmm. And it would be like, where did he get that from? But you know what? It is fun. It's just because it makes you think about something. Mm-hmm. That like when I first read that drinking straw was used, to drink beer. Mm-hmm. Why? And then you question, well, why would they use it to drink beer? Well, then as you look further, there's a logical explanation for it. But how often do we stop at the first question and we don't go any further?
We don't go further than that. Yes. Yeah.
And how does that habit of not going further show up in other areas of our lives?
So true.
It shows up.
Yes.
And that's where so often we get into comparison. And we tend to compare our everyday living, especially now with social media. I love social media and I'm so grateful for it. However, don't compare your everyday life with somebody else's highlight reel.
Yeah, because you can get really caught up into it. You can fall into their world, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, you have a world too. Like you said, you have a life too, and you get so engulfed in that. So you have to be careful. Yeah, right. You have to really be careful.
And unfortunately, we have a whole couple of generations of young girls that are coming up and not knowing that they don't have to be perfect, that they're beautiful the way they are. And they're thinking that they have to have this perfect outfit, perfect hair, perfect this, perfect that, have to be able to do this perfectly. There's no such thing as perfect. And my girlfriend Carol and I, we learned that over this last week and a half. We're putting up our YouTube channel. And we finally just said, Barbara and Carol, to each other, we just have to get this up. Then we'll tweak. Then we'll come back and learn something, but we learned so much about ourselves that, okay, Barbara, let's just go ahead and quit beating yourself up. Just do it. And because there was a couple of moments of crankiness and we had to apologize to each other because we were like, when you're trying to do something new. But it has been fun, but now it's up. There's a few, we are tweaking. There's some things we learned that, if we had known that to begin with, we would have done it differently. Absolutely. But that's the learning curve.
Yeah.
And don't compare what your journey is to somebody else's. They just might be ahead of you. It would be like me comparing myself to Tony Robbins. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But he started out doing little shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little stages.
Yeah. And he was consistent in doing what he needed to do. He tweaked what he needed to be tweaked, and asked questions, and he kept going on that journey, and then look at how he gradually got to that level. But it took a while. See, I think a lot of times people forget that it takes, I don't want to say forget.
They're comparing their 2 months to somebody else's 20 years.
20 years. And I know sometimes, okay, we can take it both ways. Yes. Yeah. It takes work. It takes consistency. It takes learning and growing. Now, now on the other hand, and it was funny having a conversation with another colleague at my job about Oprah. We were talking about Oprah.
Yes.
Because I always tell people I want to have Oprah status. I'm just trying to get to that.
Exactly.
That's my example to get to. Just I'm moving towards that. So they
use it as a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah, so something to look towards. Not to be Oprah, but just to look to have the. So anyway, so they were like, "Well, Barbara, what age are you now?" I mean, it's gonna, it took Oprah, a long time to get to where she's at and everything. And I was like, and I get that, and I know I got to do the work. But I told myself, but think about it. When Oprah started, it was like in the 70s.
Yeah.
In the 80s, there was no internet. There was no social media. There was no cell phones. There was no, I mean, think about all that. And she had to work basically from the basic stuff that we did back in the day, right?
Right. And she started at little itty bitty TV stations.
Little bitty TV stations. Plus, with her being, I'm just going to say this, as an American, African American woman, there was some, she had to deal with that too. Exactly. And not being the real prettiest person at that time, because everybody, like you said, going back to a certain woman had to look a certain way.
Right.
I mean,
and she did not, and struggled with it, and struggled with her appearance for so many years, but was very public about it too.
Yeah. So she had to go through those different, ordeals, which now it's not, I mean, now everybody, I mean, you got, what's her name? Lizzo or whatever. She's not the weight that, people think that, that you think supposed to be. And she's out there and she's an influencer. She's popular. And I'm just using her example, but there's so many other women and men, I'm talking about women right now, that it's not taking them because things changed, things evolved.
Right.
We have technology now that's taking them, I mean, we can be somewhere talking in Italy today, just being on a Zoom or StreamYard, which before you had to fly there.
Right. Right.
Or maybe you was on the radio, or you had to be on a certain TV program where a lot of us couldn't afford that back in the day. Right. So that's
you paid. Yeah. You paid to get on stages.
Yeah. You had to pay to get on stages. So I was letting them know that, okay, yeah, I'm going to do the work. I'm going to be consistent, but it might not take as much. I mean, take that long than it could, back in the day.
Right.
So use our, like I was just basically saying, we need to use what we have now that's helping us grow in our business and our branding and what we do.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so, and that brings us back to, don't compare your journey to somebody else's journey. Mm-hmm. And unless you are, you want to find the people that have what you want, but in a positive way, just so that you can say, oh, now that's how I would like to be seen as. Mm-hmm. So that you can grow, because when you're growing, that's making you a better person. You're becoming more positive. And so take the positive things. Don't let the negative things, because one of the things, most people, they automatically go to the negative.
Yeah.
I could never be like Oprah because of fill in the blank. Oh, well, I didn't do this presentation as well as so-and-so did, and we almost always go to the negative of any situations. The thing is that they have proven scientifically on brain scans and how your brain works that it takes 3 positives to offset 1 negative.
Wow.
They've proven it. And I think I've said this before, but it bears repeating. People, it takes 3 positives to offset a negative. So that's one of the things that I really encourage people to do. When you have a negative thought, write it down for that split second. Number 1, it gets it out of your body. And I had to do it myself yesterday. And then because as soon as I was aware of it, and now because I did that, I don't remember what it was, but it was just totally, I was beating myself up. So now I'm talking to you. I'm talking to somebody. Stop beating yourself up for things that you think that you are not. Mm-hmm. Celebrate those things that you are.
Yes.
And that other people say that you are.
Mm-hmm.
Stop beating yourself up for the things that for those negative things. Look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? You are beautiful.
Yes, definitely.
We must do that. So, because we automatically do compare ourselves to others. Oh, well, I'm not as slim as this person. I'm not as pretty as this person. Oh, my hair doesn't look as nice as this person. And we do that all the time. So
Yeah.
when you have that one of those negative beat yourself up thoughts, write it down because it gets it out of your body. And then think 3 positive things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, I might not be that, but oh, I know how to do this. I've learned how to do this. And wow, people love me for this.
Mm-hmm. I always say you have to love yourself where you're at right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always going to do improvement. Yes, I do want to lose
Right.
some weight. Yes, I want to look
Yeah.
a certain way, but love you for where you're at right this
Right
second.
Yeah.
Don't let that stop you from, not loving you because you feel like you're not at a certain place or you're working towards whatever, because you're working towards it.
Right.
But love you for you right now. You
right.
an awesome human being. You're
Right.
you're beautiful. You're lovely. Inside and out, you have a wonderful personality. You have to continue to tell yourself that, because as soon as you get on TikTok, like you said, or as soon as you get on Instagram or wherever, and you see something that you're trying to, working towards to, and you start in your mind, you're like, dang, then you start beating yourself up, and it's like, you can't, don't go there. Don't go down that road.
Yeah. And the question comes down to, why do we do that? Why do we do it? Well, most of the time it's because we are feeling insecure within ourselves. So that's where, when you do hear, and just remember that your brain, I heard a great demonstration. Okay. Your subconscious is like this, and your whole arm. This is your subconscious.
Okay.
So if you can keep that, has your like a visual, that's your subconscious brain. Subconscious mind, not your brain, but your subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
Your conscious mind is the size of your finger.
Wow.
I just heard it yesterday. I went, oh my stars. So what do you think is more powerful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So when one of those from here comes into your thought here, that's why you have to get rid of it. Get it, write it down, get it out of your body. Anytime you compare yourself to somebody else.
And that's why they always say to do what the affirmations. That's why I always tell people how it's important to do affirmations or listen to something positive or whatever, because like you said, like you just said, it takes three positives.
3 positives.
One of the negatives.
Right.
Wow.
And so the biggest thing is, what the 2 most powerful words ever is I am. So what words are you saying after I am? Oh, I'm so tired. Well, guess what? You're going to be more tired because you're telling yourself that you are.
And it's so true, Barbara. I mean, I'm just using that example, like you said. There's been days when I'm getting up, it's like, oh, I just feel so beat up, so tired, and then it seems like I feel even more when I say it. So
exactly,
you see how powerful that is. Yeah,
right. And one of the things is I have done this. I have looked in the mirror and gone, oh, brother, you are just looking ugly today. And not meaning it, but just how that feeling was, where you just feel less than stellar. You don't feel at your best. And one day it was so bad, I accidentally poked myself in my eye with my mascara wand, and it was just because that first thought was, oh. And so then everything goes along with it. It becomes, as my girlfriend Carol says, you just start spiraling down.
I was like,
so when you can catch that first negative thought, The words of your mouth are so powerful.
Yes. I tell people,
so powerful.
Words are powerful. Put it out there in the universe, and then whoosh.
Yeah, and just remember, your subconscious is up here. This is this whole thing, and your conscious mind is up here. It's here. I loved that, and it was like, and when Jim told me, it was like, oh wow, no wonder we struggle. And remember too that your subconscious doesn't sleep. So okay, so this is going to be another little lesson. People, do not listen to the news before you go to bed. Please stop doing that. Put on positive things before you go to bed, for the hour before you go to bed. Doesn't matter whether you watch a movie. I mean, I don't advocate watching movies, but if you're going to watch something just to relax, watch a positive one. Watch a love story. Don't watch a guns and war things.
Or some horror story or something.
Or horror stories.
It's like,
because your brain doesn't know the difference between what you see and what's reality. So all night long, if you watch something that is negative all night long, your subconscious is stewing on it.
Yes.
Watch something positive.
Yes. Well, on that note, Barbara, it looks like something positive today that we talked about. It was about to end our show for today.
No, go so fast.
I know. I just love the conversation. See, we get to talking and stuff. Next thing you know, it's like, the time is here. Yeah. So I just want to let everybody know that moving forward, because this is the new year, 2023. Again, welcome to this new year. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
We are going to be having more conversations about different things about mind, flow, like Barbara always says, or imposter syndrome, don't have that. Just different things to learn from to make you a happier you. Right. And that's all goes back to Barbara's basically mission, right? What's your mission?
Let's
Barbara?
make happiness the norm rather than the exception. The thing is, each and every one of us deserves to lead a happy, healthy, financially free, abundant life. Yes. And that is an overall grandiose kind of sounding thing. But you know what? It starts with every day. And we can do one little thing, like learn something new. We learned about straws and chocolate covered cherries.
And festival sleep day.
And National Sleep Day. Let's take a nap. But you know what? Learn something new every day. Exercise your brain. Do something with your opposite hand. Huge. Oh.
Yeah, that's hard.
Huge. Do something with your opposite hand. So we need to do that. And that's one of the things. And it's all of those little things that if you can just get 1% better on any day than you were yesterday, do 1% things.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be a huge thing, but do something 1%.
No, nothing. So thank you so much, Barbara, for always having a wonderful conversation. Next week, we will be back on every Tuesday. We're still here every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. I always tell everybody else, please look at the other times.
And one other thing, now that it's 2023, we can say that we've been doing this 3 years in June.
Yes, we're going to be 3-year anniversary coming up.
3 years.
Woo! Yes. So with that said, 2023, 3 years.
3 years.
That goes together.
3 years.
Okay. Well, thank you, Barbara, and we'll see each other next Tuesday. And have a wonderful rest of your day. And like Barbara always says, make happiness the norm and not the abnorm.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And Thursday night is the panel.
Yes. So see you on Thursday. I will be doing commercials, more of that, so people know that's coming up every first Thursday of the month.
Perfect.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.